Belleville Sens podcast is back for another week. Off-season update number 6 of Season 2. This will be our final off-season update. And starting next week, we'll begin Season 3 of the Belleville Sens podcast. And that's because next week we'll have a whole pile of interviews and content to pass along from Ottawa Senators rookie camp and the Prospects Challenge, which takes place this weekend in Buffalo. The B-Sen will be there and chatting with some familiar faces and some new ones as well. We'll give you the rundown of rookie camp and the Prospects Challenge coming up a little bit later on in the show. And our first segment today will be dedicated to what's been happening around the club here at home because it was a busy week for news. Bunch of new staff hired. Our kids club and other youth programming is launched. And we're glad you're here to hear about it and chat with us. David Footbrock, Ormond here on the Belleville Sens podcast. Again, please throw a rating and a review to the show wherever you're listening. Make sure to subscribe as well, and that will really help us out. How's it going, Brock? Another week closer to puck drop here.
Yeah, it's going to be it's coming really close, and I know the people in the office, along with you, David, are really excited about it. But it does come fast. As soon as August leaves, September comes, it just shoots on by, and pretty soon it'll be October 11th and the regular season will begin. So really excited to see what's all in store, and I know all these staffing announcements, all this programming and stuff coming out means we're just that much closer to puck drop, and it should be really good to see what the organization has in store for this year.
Yeah, and the added noise in the background, we talked a little bit on last week's show about it, that we are back in the Jack Miller Press Box and Media Center here at CAA Arena. And again, one of the other signs that hockey is right around the corner is that the rink is extremely busy with renovations and improvements and additions, etc. So you might hear a little noise bleed through over the course of this episode, especially because it's just Brock and I this week. No interviews. Everybody's starting to get down to the grind and get refocused on the season coming, so we figured we would leave people alone this week and just chat, the two of us. But again, there is a lot to talk about. Let's start in the hockey operations department. A couple of months ago, it was announced Stefan Legion and Andrew Campbell would be joining the club, taking over from Chris Dennis and Nate McKeever last year. But we didn't talk about the other staff additions, and basically Dave Bell is working with pretty well a completely fresh group of staff downstairs. The only returning staff members from last year are our team services coordinator, Dan Saparis, our equipment manager, Mike Boys, and a hearty mazel tov to Mikey Boys, who has been promoted to head equipment manager, been with the B-Sens since they were in Binghamton, moved here with the team in 17-18, has been the assistant to Matty Mitchell since that time. And Matty, whose family stayed in Binghamton when the team moved here, has found an outstanding opportunity for himself in Wilkes-Barre with the Penguins. He'll be much closer to his friends and family. So first, heartfelt thank you to Matt Mitchell for everything he did for the Belleville Senators. Really one of the guys responsible for getting the dressing room set up the way it was, for making sure that the guys were taken care of as well as they were, and for really establishing what it means to be part of the locker room in Belleville. So Matty Mitchell, it's going to be different for sure without him, but what an opportunity for Mikey Boys. His dad's been the longtime equipment manager, trainer with the Oshawa Generals. Mikey was with the Sioux Greyhounds for a bit before coming to the AHL, and now here he is, head equipment manager of the Belleville Senators. It's well-earned, well-deserved for him.
Well-deserved indeed, and Matt Mitchell as well, been with the team for a long time now, and so all the best wishes to him. But Mike Boy's good on him, and like we talk about the coaches and how important they are, and the players obviously are pretty important, but the thing that all of them will say down there in that room and around the dressing room, around the halls and all that is we couldn't do this without the equipment managers and without the trainers and these important people that keep us playing at our best. And Mike Boy's getting the head equipment manager job. That's a good role for him, and something that he loves to do. He loves to make sure everything's just that fine detail, right down to the last detail. If anybody needs a little fix here and there, he's there to help, and so are a bunch of others down there. So, big congratulations to him and to everybody that's doing the staff, too, because we have a long list of them.
Yeah, we do. The only other returnee is Chris Wilson, who is essentially the visiting equipment assistant, and he works his tail off as well to help the visiting teams get settled in. But that's it for returning faces. 4, if you include myself and Alex Smith. 6 faces that are traveling again. So it's going to be different, I think, for this entire group. Let's roll through some of the other new names on the coaching staff. Paul Gibson is joining in as the goaltending coach, taking over for Tyson Teichman, and Tom Black replaces Fred LeMay as the club's video coach. Tom coming from the London Knights, obviously. They've had some pretty good success in recent years, so there's a good pedigree coming there in terms of the video side of things, which is always expanding. And then Paul Gibson's been a goaltending coach for over a decade, most recently with the Owen Sound Attack. So, again, for all those fans who maybe still miss the OHL, again, this is another example of that continuation of the pipeline, really. It's the same coaches, the same players. They're just a little bit older, a little bit more experienced.
Yeah, and you talk about the success with Tom Black with the London Knights. Yeah, just a little bit. They've had so much winning success, 50 wins, 40-plus wins during the season, and then winning Ontario Hockey League titles here, there, and everywhere. Memorial Cups as well. They've been in the finals there a couple times. They've won. So, that's the kind of winning pedigree that kind of goes unnoticed because it's behind the scenes. If fans don't necessarily see all the behind the scenes work, so the video coaching is a pretty essential part of today's hockey operations because of the fact that it's a different time, a lot of technology now. So well deserved to have him get this job as well. And Paul Gibson, goaltending coach, lots of experience as well. Again in the Ontario Hockey League, and comes to the AHL with a good pedigree that can help further enhance guys like Mads Sogard, Levi Marilainen, and Michael Simpson to be the best they can be, because they're 3 really good goaltenders to begin with, and now here in the AHL, it's just one small step to get himself to a pretty good position and get the team into a winning column.
You mentioned those goaltenders. We're hoping to chat with Levi Marilainen and Michael Simpson at rookie camp or the Prospects Challenge in Buffalo this weekend. Again, we'll have more on the roster and some of the familiar faces to watch coming up in the second half of the program here on the Belleville Sens podcast. Just continuing to roll through some of the new additions downstairs in the hockey operations department. So that's the coaching staff. Head coach Dave Bell, his assistants, Stefan Legion and Andrew Campbell, Paul Gibson, the goaltending coach, Tom Black, the video coach. Shelley Kettles is still around as a skating development consultant as well. She'll be here back and forth between Belleville and Ottawa, putting the guys through their paces. In the equipment department, we mentioned Mike Boyes getting promoted. Well, he's hired a new assistant, and Spencer Stehauer joins the Belleville Sens from the WHL. He was all over, really. He's had a bunch of different gigs. Has Stehauer, he's helped out with Hockey Canada as well, but most recently comes from the Saskatoon Blades of the WHL. He was with the Sarnia Sting before that, University of Western Ontario. So, again, another guy who, like the players, trying to kind of work the way up the pipeline and get to the next level of the sport, and settling here in Belleville will be another nice add.
Yeah, for sure, and coming from all the way out west, too, so that's a bit of a culture shock as well in and of itself, because you go from the blustery, snow, cold, minus 30-degree temperatures in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, right in the prairies, to here in Ontario, where the winters aren't quite so crazy. Occasionally there will be, but yeah, he comes to Belleville with, again, a large pedigree, and that's the thing you'll find once you read through all these guys' resumes and past experiences. They have a lot of it, and of course, like you said, he was with Saskatoon, with Sarnia, and the OHL, with London Nationals and the GOJHL, Western Ontario Mustangs, and U Sports Hockey Canada, World Under-17s. It's an extensive list, and that's just the start for a lot of these guys. And getting here to the AHL, like you said, one small step ahead of potentially fulfilling their dreams in the National Hockey League. And They say all roads or most roads come through. If you're going to go through the Ottawa Sens organization, you got to go through Belleville as well, and it's a well-deserved opportunity and well-deserved congratulations for all these guys.
Yeah, and a neat note as well is that a bunch of these new staff members are from Ontario originally, whether they've been living in Ontario recently or not. That was home at one point, and that's something I think that's going to help with the connection as well, for this team on a broader sense, trying to connect with Sens fans across the province, not just here in the Quinte region, not just in the National Capital region, but trying to get the name out across the province. And now you've got a bunch of staff who are from Western Ontario, and their friends and family will be cheering for the Sens, you hope, and that'll stretch all the way across. So it's just kind of nice to see more Ontario folks back home.
Yeah, it is, and yeah, that's one thing that that's kind of underrated too. Is you add on the fan support, people coming here. They don't have as far to go. They can come from Flesherton is where one's from. You got someone from just not far away, like Kingston and different places. Mm-hmm. So it's important, and you can't understate that because it's important to try and draw from all around, and because this is the American Hockey League, you're not just bound to one city or one geographical area. You can bring in fans from all over. I know there's several people that come from Ottawa and from even across the river in Gatineau, Quebec, and various places in between, Kingston as well, like we said, Napanee, further west to Trenton and Cobourg and everywhere. So it's drawing that new fan base in, and kind of a new rejuvenated fan base as well after the success of last season for the B-Sens.
Yeah, it's like it's a bit of a refresh rather than a reset, I think, which we had seen in recent pre-seasons past. Also joining the training and equipment staff, Justin Hyland is the new head strength and conditioning coach. He's got, like all these folks, a pretty impressive resume. Just got back from the UK as he's studying strength and conditioning at St. Mary's University in London. He was literally just over there a couple weeks ago, and now back and right into camp. Nick Addy-Gibb is the new head athletic therapist. 15 years or so in the National Hockey League, over a decade with Montreal, about a half a decade with Vancouver, and most recently had been helping out with the Burnaby Winter Club AAA program as their head athletic therapist, and now comes back to Ontario. He'll be joined by Colby McLean, who had the shortest distance to travel. He was the head athletic therapist with the Kingston Frontenacs, the OHL, and just whips down the highway now to find his new home. So those two will handle all of the day-to-day health-related needs of the team. And then our doctor and physician staff hasn't changed. Again, you can get the full update at BellevilleSens.com, and you can read about all these staff members under the team tab at BellevilleSens.com as well. The long and short of it is a solid, qualified group that all seems hungry. It's a lot of first pro gigs for a lot of these staff members, and that's always going to inject a little bit of extra life into things, I think, especially when you look at the assistant coaches, Stefan Leach and Andrew Campbell, guys who have played in this league. Andrew Campbell, hundreds of games in this league, and a former captain of the Toronto Marlies, and now they get a chance to try to show what they can do in the AHL as coaches. It's an exciting time for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's another thing where leadership comes into play is going to be pretty amazing to see, because you got David Bell, a former captain when he played, Andrew Campbell, a former captain when he played, Stefan Legion of Warren with the Niagara Ice Dogs, I believe, at one point as well. So yeah, that right there is what kind of sets the tone. When you got Bellsy still here, he sets the tone. The assistant coaches back him, support him, and then it just bleeds through to the rest of the staff. And like you said, David, first-time pro gigs for a lot of these guys, and of course the head athletic therapist Nick Addy-Gibb with a bunch of experience, a pile of it in the National Hockey League and the AHL. You can't understate that. And again, a lot of fans won't see that kind of stuff out on the ice. It's kind of a lot of it's behind the scenes, but it's no less essential to the makeup of a franchise. So it's brilliant stuff, and it can only mean hopefully good things for the Belleville Senators to try and break through and maybe get a Calder Cup championship, or at least take a deep run at it, because this franchise, there's a lot of people hearing it online and different things that are really excited and believe that Belleville could be a real problem for a lot of teams in the AHL this year, and it's all thanks to the coaching staff as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, a hearty welcome to Bell Vegas, to that entire crop of incoming personnel down in the hockey operations department. We'll catch up with some of them in Buffalo this weekend as well at the 2024 Prospects Challenge. And we'll have more on that tournament coming up on the other side of our break in just a few minutes. Before we take that break, a couple of other headlines to pass along from the office here at CAA Arena this week. And first off, we want to welcome a new corporate partner, Alliance Patient Transfer, coming on as the official first aid provider for Belleville Sens fans at home games at CAA Arena. It's a 3-year deal, which means through the 26-27 season, the fine folks at Alliance will be around the arena, and if you have a first aid issue, they'll be the folks to help you out and make sure that you're well taken care of. So exciting to have them on board with us, the folks at Alliant Patient Transfer, the official first aid provider of the Belleville Senators. Other headlines this week, the Kids Club details are out. Kids Program details are out. Sens in School is back. Belly's Kids Club is back. Belly's Birthday Club is back. We'll chat a little bit maybe about these, Brock. The school program has been extremely successful for the team. 24 schools are planned to be visited this year, so that is quite the undertaking. But as we've seen, the difference, the impact made even by these quick visits to even big groups of kids, it gets felt pretty strongly.
Yeah, the players in the community is an important aspect of any team, really, right from even minor hockey ages. You see kids out doing bottle drives and, selling, donuts and different things out to the people out in the community. And you got, junior teams going out. You got, American Hockey League teams going out, too, to let people know that they're here and they're not just playing in our community. They're part of the community. And to see the kids' faces just light up when these players walk in to different schools and they get introduced and they play around with the kids or they talk to the kids, that can leave an imprint on a kid's mind for many years to come. And I know it was the same thing for me when I was younger, back in the old Bulls days when a player or two would come into the school and have a chat. It's incredible stuff. And these kids they look up to players like that, and they're like their heroes. And I know last year a couple of guys went on to a Holy Name of Mary school in Marysville, which was my old stomping grounds, which was really nice to see, and a little out of the way for some of the guys living just in Belleville, right in town here. But that's the kind of stuff. Like those kids do root on the team. They do come to the games, and they understand what it takes, to be here and to come out and support the team, and that kind of thing right there, bringing the players on board to have a chat and to see the players or see the kids rather, and play around with them, and all that leaves a mark on them for many years to come. So that's very important stuff, and I know that you guys are working hard on that in the office to get that going.
Yeah, if you're interested in getting your child's school registered, you should go through the school. But interested schools can head to BellevilleSens.com and register there. We will let the selected schools know within 48 hours of registrations closing. It is first come, first serve, so once the registration's full, that will be it. But that's not the only way that your young Belleville Sens fan can get involved with the club this season. You could have them join Belly's Kids Club as well, which is a $25 membership for the season, but you get a whole bunch of benefits through that, including Belleville Sens water bottle, a mini stick and ball set, a exclusive membership card, and a special message from Belly, and a whole lot more. Plus, the Birthday Club is back. Belly's Birthday Club, presented by Sugar Mama's Bake Shop, and for $31.25 per ticket, you'll get everything you need for your birthday party: invitations, loot bags, cupcakes from Sugar Mama's, a limited edition Belly's Birthday Club t-shirt for the birthday child, and a whole lot of fun to go along with that. There is a 10-ticket minimum for Belly's Birthday Club, should mention that. But again, all the details are available at BellevilleSens.com. You can just click on the Kids Program story. It's on the front page right now. That'll get you all the info you need to get your young Belleville Sens fan set up and ready to go with the season just about a month away. Home opener is a month and a week away on October 19th, which means the season opener is a month away. And it's coming pretty quick.
Yeah, it is. just shy of a month, and this would be both 11th and 12th. That's about when it starts. Rochester and Syracuse await. And Blue Cross Arena, David, I know is going to be really exciting for you to go see on a home opener night. Any night is great to be in that building with all those raucous Rochester fans, but especially on home opener night where it's going to be electric, and I can't wait for you to see that.
It's going to be fun for sure. So will the rest of the show. We will tee up the 2024 Prospects Challenge in Buffalo. Sens prospects are headed there today. Recording date September 12th, and they'll play their first game tomorrow, Friday, September 13th. We'll get you all the info when we come back to this off-season update on season number 2 of the Belleville Sens podcast. Stay with us. Halliday's in with a shot. Rebound! Scores! Garrett Pilon in overtime!
Be there for the next great Belleville Sens moment. Single game tickets for 2024-25 Belleville Sens first half home games are now on sale through Ticketmaster or the Belleville Sens box office. Get into the action as the Belleville Senators aim to make more AHL history at CAA Arena. For info on tickets, box office hours, group experiences, partnership opportunities, and more, visit BellevilleSens.com and be part of the team.
Off-season update number 6, season 2 of the Belleville Sens podcast. David Foote, Brock Ormond here. A little bit of a shortened episode, interview-free this week, but that will change dramatically next week as the B-Sen content team heads to Buffalo this weekend to take in a game or two of the 2024 Prospects Challenge. Ottawa Senators rookies will be at the Lecom Harbor Center, take on the New Jersey Devils prospects on September 13th at 3:30. The Pittsburgh Penguins prospects on September 14th at noon. And then the Columbus Blue Jackets prospects at 1:30 on Monday, September 16th. So the roster came out earlier this week. There are a lot of familiar names on there. And we're going to break down some of those players to keep an eye on this weekend in Buffalo. And this event, Brock, might not seem like a massive deal. It's pre-even official training camp. It's just the rookies. It's just the prospects. But this is really the first opportunity that these young players, many of them, are going to have to try to make an impact and to try to make themselves stand out in what really is a pretty large pool of up-and-coming players in the organization.
Yeah, and a few of them that have spent time with the Belleville Senators, last season, for instance, like Levi Marilainen, who was outstanding, actually, when given the opportunity to play, and him and Mads Sogaard turned out to be a pretty darn good duo towards the end of the season, really all season once Levi finally came up from Allen in the ECHL. But then you got a guy like Thomas Samara, who got into one game last year at Belleville, Jorian Donovan, who got into one game the year prior. Those two guys are going to be expected to take big leaps this season. And, of course, it all starts with the rookie camp and getting going that way, getting their feet wet. Tyler Boucher, another guy that really needs this rookie camp because he didn't play a whole lot last year. He was injured for most of it and ended up losing pretty much his whole season at one point. So it was difficult for him to really get a rhythm going. So he's in this one. Philippe Daou, another guy that has been dealing with a lot of injury problems the last 2 years. He's back in getting his opportunity here in rookie camp. Stephen Halliday, who came on just flying out of the gate from college last season and was probably Belleville's most dangerous offensive threat, arguably, down the stretch into the playoffs. Actually led the Sens in scoring, too, which was the key thing there. Oscar Pettersson, a guy that didn't play at all in the playoffs and got some spot duty during the season, but he's involved in this. And then, of course, several other top rookies and prospects. So it's going to be a competitive camp, and to say that rookie camp is kind of a precursor in that is an understatement, because a guy like Taryn Fizer got his opportunity in rookie camp and really made the most of it, got an invite to Ottawa Sens camp, got a contract with Belleville, and ended up doing pretty well for himself, all things considered, as a mostly fourth-line guy. And he's parlayed that into a different opportunity elsewhere. So these rookie camps can really set the tone for your season. And if guys are fit and in shape and ready to go, which everybody is nowadays, but especially so when you're trying to fight for a spot on either Ottawa or Belleville, these camps are pretty important. And Taryn Fizer shows you exactly why. He scored a bunch of goals and a bunch of points, and he ended up getting himself a spot in Belleville as a result of it.
Yeah, and as much as it is a chance to kind of showcase yourself to your new organization, it's also an opportunity to maybe get a taste of the level of competition, because you're up against, again, other teams full of their best prospects as well, and more guys that are in the exact same spot trying to get noticed. So these tournaments, again, they're early fall, late summer, whatever you want to call it, but they get pretty intense. Some of these games, we've seen it in the past. Unfortunately for the Senators, they've had some injury problems at these tournaments, but again, it's just another example of the intensity and what it means to have this opportunity to be that close to pro hockey.
For sure, and it's a different ball game than college or junior for sure, and it's the competition level is high, it's fierce, it's and pretty tough to get space out there for sure, and it's awesome to have this opportunity for these guys, and there was I think last year or the year before, I know. Wasn't involved with Ottawa, Belleville, but Arbor Jacki got into a little scrap with a Toronto player, and things got a little bit hairy there. But all these guys, they're all experienced in their respective areas, and a few guys that we haven't seen too much of, like guys from Sweden and from out west and whatnot. That's guys that are new to the organization as well. That's going to be really a first chance for coaching staffs in Ottawa and Belleville to really see what they have in store. And like for instance, the 7th overall pick in this year's draft, Carter Yakimchuk from the Calgary Hitmen, could end up here in Belleville. Could end up, playing for the Ottawa Senators in the future. You just never know. So it's an opportunity to see new guys and kind of get a lay of the land and see what they have to offer.
Yeah, and it's a good crop, really is this year. A little bit more experience, like only a handful of 18-year-olds, a bunch of 21-year-olds, and those are the ones to really watch at these prospect events, those 21-year-olds, because if you're 18 or you're 19 or maybe even 20, if your junior team has the roster spots left, you can go back to junior. But if you're 21 or over, pro is the next likely step, or the step you're after, and if you don't crack one of these rosters, you're going to have to find somewhere else to play.
That's right, and it makes things that much more difficult, and it puts a little bit added pressure on to really make a statement and kind of make an impression on both the coaching staff. So Travis Green with Ottawa, David Bell with Belleville, and everybody else. It makes for increasingly intense and difficult camps to get through. So it can be a difficult time to really find space, like we said, and find a little bit of room. And there's a couple guys that we'll mention that have that distinction at 21 years old that need to make a push, and on amateur tryouts too. They got to kind of last legs. They're just coming in with an opportunity, and they're going to shoot their shot and see what they can do and what they can accomplish. So it's going to be a fun atmosphere for sure in Buffalo. And Macomb Harbor Center is a great spot for hockey too. You can play multiple games at different rink pads and everything. So there's a lot happening, and it makes it feel like a big event.
Yeah, and it is. You'll see scouts from all over, personnel from all the teams involved, fans from a lot of the teams involved. I mean, I've gone in there when the Buffalo Prospects are playing, and it's packed. It's jam-packed, and it's what seats maybe 300 or 400 perhaps in that rink. Maybe a few more, but the city of Buffalo and the hockey fans there have really taken to hosting this event every year, and really excited to getting down there and checking out the action. The 21-year-olds to keep an eye on for Belleville and Ottawa, and I guess it's a little different because some of these guys are signed, right? So Levi Marilainen is signed, and as is Michael Simpson to a two-way AHL deal, though he's in this camp on an amateur tryout. Otherwise, 21-year-olds include Jabril Toure. He's already under contract. You'll likely see him here in Belleville unless he manages to climb the ranks all the way through training camp. Tyler Boucher, we talked about the importance of the season for him as someone who's battled so many injuries. Phil Daou is 22. And like you said, Brock, similar situation, needs to have a full healthy season to really take the next step in his career. Jake Chason is an interesting one, acquired in the Roby Yarvetti trade to Edmonton. He's 21, has a contract, but he's playing still to find a spot full-time in the AHL because he played most of last season down in the ECHL.
Yeah, and we talked about him before and how important of a year it is for him to try and break through, because there's a lot of good, solid players that deserve the ice time and need the ice time, and will work for it too, to be sure, for the Belleville Senators. And there's not a whole lot of space there, even for guys that were returning from last year like Daou and Pettersson. So that's why this camp is so important for them, and Jake Chason as well. And Fort Wayne was a good spot for him last year, and but it's the important thing is to find a way to break through into the American Hockey League, and Bakersfield just unfortunately wasn't in the cards for him. So now he's coming here to Belleville, and if he can have a really good rookie camp, that starts things off. And if the momentum carries forward, then he could find himself impressing the coaching staff in Belleville. And David Bell may have to have a long discussion with his assistant coaches and the staff to see maybe if he could find a way on the Belleville Senators. But it all depends on his play and what he does to impress. And he's got to be able to stand out amongst a lot of really solid, very physical, very intense, very good players on the roster, the rookie roster, especially up front for the Belleville Senators.
So not sure just yet how or if you'll be able to watch the games. I know the Buffalo games will be streamed, but you'll have to stay tuned likely to the Ottawa social feeds at Senators to find out more about how you can potentially watch the games. We can give you the schedule again, though. Friday, the 13th of September, New Jersey against Ottawa at 3:30. Saturday, September 14th at noon, Pittsburgh against Ottawa. And then Monday, September 16th at 1:30 p.m., Ottawa against Columbus. And then they head back to Canada and start Ottawa Senators training camp. They've got NHL preseason games like a week and a half away, and our season is not far away from that either. Quick reminder with that in mind that single game tickets are now on sale. For the first half of the season, you can head to Ticketmaster.ca anytime or get box office hours at BellevilleSens.com to get your single game tickets. It's getting closer, and we'll see if the Senators can have a better tournament maybe this year. Last year opened with a 5-2 win over New Jersey and then fell 8-3 to Pittsburgh and 2-1 to Montreal. They did not have a win there in 2022, so looking for an improvement. And again, based on the roster we just ran through, it seems like that will be the case.
Yeah, for sure. And, having that extra competition is good for everybody involved because, it leads to less complacency. It leads to guys understand that they need to be hitting the ground running pretty fast if they want to really impress and maybe have an inside shot at a spot on any one of the Ottawa Sens or the Belleville Sens. But looking forward to seeing all the prospects and all the guys that are really hunting and hungry for spots, and should be a really good time. And, hockey's not far away, really. Like the preseason and regular season will be here before you know it, and Belleville will have a lot of guys that are conditioned and ready to go once Ottawa Sens camp wraps up as well.
And next week we will kick off Season 3 of the Belleville Sens podcast. We'll bring you some of those interviews from the Prospects Challenge in Buffalo this weekend, and we'll start to get you more connected to training camp and what's going on ahead of the 2024-25 Belleville Sens season. With that, we'll say goodbye. One more reminder to please subscribe to the show wherever you're listening. Toss us a rating and a review, and hopefully you will join us next week for Season 3 of the Belleville Sens podcast on the Belleville Sens Entertainment Network. For Brock Ormond, David Foote, thanking you for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.